Hi, welcome to Nomis Academy. This time we'll be dealing with disjunction and negation in logical reasoning. Remember what I told you in the former video? Remember what I told you in the previous video? Disjunction is or, negation is not. So let's take them one after the other. You see, two statements can be combined by the word or to form a new statement. That is, combining statement P and Q together to form another compound statement, making use of the connective or. Remember, the sign for connective or is this. Looks like letter V. Letter V is the connective or. So two statements can be joined together using the word or. So when they are connected together using or, we say that P or Q symbolically in logical form can be written as P or Q. In logical reasoning, in logical pattern of writing, P or Q can be written in this manner. So if you say this in logical reasoning mathematics, so you read it as P or Q. So let's consider some statements. Ngozi can study economics. That is statement P. Ngozi can study French. That is statement Q. Now, how do we join them together? So to join these two together, okay, maybe I should write it. Ngozi can study economics. Ngozi can study French. So let's take the first statement as statement P and the second statement as statement Q. So when these two statements are connected together with disjunction that we know as or, so it becomes Ngozi can either study economics or French. So it becomes Ngozi can either study economics or French. Now, this compound statement, Ngozi can either study economics or French, can now be written as P, since P is Ngozi can study economics, and Q is Ngozi can study French. So I'll write this statement in logical pattern as P or Q. P or Q. So let us look into the truth table of P or Q. So when we have a statement P true and statement Q to true, what would the compound statement be? Will it be true or false? If we have statement P false and statement Q true, or we have statement P or Q true, what are we going to have as our compound statement? So let's look into the truth table. Now let's take this part to be statement P and this part statement Q. So let's say if statement P is true and statement Q is true, and let's check another one when statement P is true but Q is false. What about when P is false and Q is true, or when P is false and Q is also false. So let's see our judgment when we connect P and Q together using the OR connective. So P or Q, if P is true and Q is true, or we tell the compound statement will be true, definitely. So if Ngozi can study economics, Ngozi can study French. So Ngozi can either study economics or French is true. Now, what about when Ngozi can study economics? That's true, but Ngozi cannot study French. How do we connect it together? Remember, Ngozi can either study economics or French. It's true because she can study one of the subjects. So the statement, compound statement, is true that she can study one of them, either study economics or French. So it is true. It is true. Now, what about if the first statement, meaning the first simple statement, is false? True. The second one is true. What would the compound statement be? The compound statement would definitely be true because when we still say Ngozi can either study economics or French, meaning that Ngozi can study French, is possible. So it is true. But what happens when they are both false? So when Ngozi cannot study economics and Ngozi can actually study French, and we say Ngozi can either study economics or French, then our compound statement would also be false. So this is the judgment for or. So when or connective joins two statements together, when the two statements are true, the compound statements will be true. But when one of them is false, it will still remain true. And when the two are false, and our judgments in the compound statement would be false. Now let's go to the second one, negation. 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 So negation. So just as we were told in a previous video, negation simply means not. Negation simply means not. So the negation of any statement is the reverse of such statement. The negation of every statement is the opposite of that statement. Okay, let's say statement A be P. The negation of P is written as say P. So let's say a statement P. So we know that the negation of this statement P is P, not P. So whatever the statement P is, the opposite is the not P. Let's consider an example. So if we say Ngozi can study French and there is a negation to that statement, that means Ngozi cannot study French. So that is the negation. So let's type that. So when we look at this statement, Ngozi can study French. So if truly Ngozi can study French, so let's take that as our simple statement, the first statement. So that is statement P. So the negation of this statement is that Ngozi cannot study French. Then this would be negation P. Ngozi cannot study French. So let us look at the truth table of the negation of Ngozi can study French, Ngozi cannot study French. So let's have our tables of truth. So let's take statement P and the negation P. So if a statement is true, then the negation will be false. Is that simple? Yes. And if the statement is false, then the negation will definitely be true. Will definitely be true. So it's just that negation tells the reverse of the statement. So when a statement is true, the negation is false, and when the statement is false, the negation is true.
I believe you.